But really, it's within our sector. And the government really need to work towards it. There are crises here, there are crises there. We know few. But in terms of saying security in Nigeria, Nigeria has not got to that limit.
To ensure this, the police in Lagos has stepped up efforts to guarantee safety of lives.
In quite a number of such cases reported, we are able to find those missing persons and reunite them with their families. We still have found, and we are not sure whether they are still alive or whether they are even out of the jurisdiction completely. We are working on those few cases, but the large number of cases we have recovered, we have found the persons.
According to the United Nations, enforced disappearance has become a global problem and can be perpetrated in complex situations, especially during conflicts, an aberration that must be checked.
Now, to speak more on the International Day of Victims of Enforced Disappearance is Dotun Ogunyemi. He joins us from Lagos via Zoom. Hello, Dotun. Welcome to The Correspondents.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
All right, Dotun, enforced disappearance is actually a global challenge and not restricted to a particular region. How does this occur?
Well, according to United Nations, there are quite a number of scenarios that could lead to enforced disappearance. Most of the time, the most common ones are political conflicts and also arrests and detention by some political actors around the world. If they perceive that some persons are their oppositions, they lock them up without due trial. And also in terms of conflict as well as natural disasters, we can also have some people who are forcefully displaced through those means. And that is why the United Nations is trying to call on the international community to ensure that human rights as well as other factors that could lead to this sort of situation do not, again, linger on for so long.
All right, Dotun, from what you have just explained and from your report, these are challenges of insecurity, human trafficking and inhuman treatment of Nigerians abroad. How can the dignity of the victims, be restored?
Well, I think there's a lot that our foreign policy also has to take into effect, especially when we look at Nigerians who are not being treated the way they should be abroad. And also the rule of law when it comes to those individuals who have been wrongfully detained or arrested in Nigeria. The human rights community is also saying that the government or anybody who is actually a party or involved in these things should allow the rule of law, justice, and or equity to prevail in those situations.
All right, Dotun, moving further, what is the impact of disappearance of victims, on their families, the communities? What is the impact?
The impact, like you can imagine, is huge. Just in the course of doing this report, I spoke to the Nigerian Red Cross Society, and believe it or not, there was a particular young man who hasn't seen his family for like about 15 years. And the Red Cross was able to locate him in the country where he resides currently. And they were able to send a message down here to Nigeria. And as soon as the family got the message, this young person in particular, this person had a 78-year-old mother who leaped up for joy. And you could imagine that would have meant, winning back, just like the prodigal son, bringing back a lost family member who you thought was probably dead, but these people are not dead. They are somewhere around the world, and government needs to rise up to responsibility. That is why the United Nations is also calling on more humanitarian organizations to do more to ensure that some of these people who have been forcefully disappeared are brought back to reunite with their family. Because family is the strongest and smallest unit of any society, and that would mean that we would have better communities if these people are being brought back to reunite with their families.
Dotun, I quite agree with you. 15 years of disappearance, that's actually huge, and the impact one can just imagine. Well, that will be all for now. We do appreciate you for joining us on this week's edition of The Correspondent. Hope to see you some other time.
Thank you. Anytime. Thank you.
You're welcome, Dotun. Still to come, business activities resume in livestock market in Akwa Ibom State after this timeout. Join us.
The coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, has been declared by the World Health Organization as a global pandemic. While clinical trials are ongoing for a vaccine and a possible cure, there is no known treatment for the coronavirus. Nigeria has recorded some of these cases, and people are advised to take these preventive measures to keep themselves safe and contain the further spread of the virus. Wash your hands frequently with soap and water, or use hand sanitizers all the time. Maintain social distancing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Practice respiratory hygiene. If you have fever, cough, and difficulty breathing, seek medical care early. Do not panic. Stop the spread of unconfirmed news. Follow the official government news outlets and report all cases immediately. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, Africa's largest television network.
Welcome back to The Correspondent. Let's take you to Ebonyi State with the monitoring of the ongoing external examinations. The 2020 West African School Certificate Examination in Ebonyi State is currently going on without hitches, in spite of the COVID-19 pandemic. This is the result of the state government's effort to prepare and equip the students and teachers on safety measures. Correspondent Chika Okore reports.
Adjusting to the new normal to curb the spread of COVID-19 is the main reason these students are arranged this way. However, we could not interact with them to know how these sitting arrangements may affect their performance because they were all engaged with the examination. But as school principal of Government Technical College, Reverend Sister Amaka Asike is optimistic of a better outcome.
Since they came back, the teachers have been working hard to make sure that they do the revisions necessary.
Coupled with the fact that the Ebonyi State government conducted the Ebonyi radio teacher program, so while the students were on lockdown, they still were taught.
We were involved in e-learning using Zoom system, and in fact, all our students have been on this even before they came back on it.
Prior to the examination, Ebonyi State Governor Chief David Umahi organized a sensitization exercise for the teachers and students to teach and warn them of dangers of not keeping to COVID-19 safety guidelines, with a promise to equip schools.
I want to advise the students and the teachers. The problem of this COVID is that it's not all about you. It's about you and your family and your friends. And so if we don't totally observe the protocol, God forbid, and teacher transmits to students, student transmits to their fellow students, students take it back to their parents, it becomes a problem. We believe that as students are coming to school, there is washing hand locations. As soon as they wash their hands, they sanitize and go to their classes. No nose masks, nobody should be allowed into school. It's the duty of the principals and the teachers to ensure that there is a hand washing location, class by class.
Apart from making good his promise of providing schools with face masks, hand sanitizers and other aids, Ebonyi State government has a standby medical team to respond to emergency during this period.
Every school has an infrared thermometer, so that our health workers who are in the school use the infrared thermometers to check the body temperatures of all the teachers and students who are coming in. If any child develops fever, then the COVID-19 medical team are immediately alerted.
If the level of compliance to SCDC COVID-19 protocols so far exhibited should be maintained, in no distant time, the entire education system will bounce back with full activities.
Yes, Chika, the successful conduct of the examination will no doubt pave way for full resumption of schools. Thanks a lot. And to the livestock market in Uyo, with the lifting of ban on importation of livestock into Akwa Ibom State by the state government, business activities are now flourishing at the popular livestock market. Against this background, management of Central Abattoir, which is an annex of the market, is ensuring full compliance to COVID-19 safety measures while carrying out their daily business. Correspondent Kelvin Samuel tells us more.
Livestock business in Akwa Ibom State was one of the mostly affected businesses in the quest to contain the spread of coronavirus. However, just as other sectors of the economy is gradually being opened up, the business of livestock is also coming back to life, a situation that has restored joy on the faces of dealers who have been out of business for a while. They couldn't hide their excitement as they appreciate the state government for restoring them back to business while assuring consumers that the hike experienced as a result of the ban on livestock will be a thing of the past.
We suffer a lot. We experienced a lot of things and we encountered a lot of things. Now that the government have decided to reopen the market, honestly, we were grateful.
A lot of other issues that prompted the closure of the market for some time has been addressed, and so the governor has reopened the livestock market for the people of Akwa Ibom State and other citizens of Nigeria and otherwise to come in and do business.
Director of Veterinary and Pest Control Services, Akwa Ibom State, Dr. Obod, who was spotted with his team at the Central Abattoir, said they are working in collaboration with the management of the Central Abattoir to ensure that only the best are allowed to get into the hands of consumers. He rated the abattoir high in terms of hygiene and facilities.
The meats are inspected every morning and are passed fit for consumption. For those that are not, we condemn them and give them perfect disposal so that the populace in Akwa Ibom will consume good meats.
Thank you.
Central Abattoir and Livestock Depot is a place that you are sure of the standards when it comes to hygiene of your consumable. That's
Recall that the Central Abattoir was shut down a few months ago and ban placed on the importation of livestock into the state as a way to curtail the further spread of coronavirus. This has been reversed and business activities resumed at the livestock market, but in full compliance with the COVID-19 safety guidelines.
Very well then, Samuel, it is interesting to know that there is full compliance with COVID-19 guidelines in the market. Traders and customers must learn to take responsibility for their health. Many thanks. And that does it on The Correspondent this week. We hope you enjoyed the program. Let's do it again, same time, same station next week. You can follow our Twitter handle at FUOLUANTA #NTA Correspondence. Don't forget to use the hashtag NTA Correspondence whenever you make a comment or ask a question. And a quick reminder that COVID-19 is still with us and might stay a little bit longer. The ease of the lockdown does not mean that the coronavirus pandemic is over. Continue to maintain personal hygiene by washing your hands with soap under running water every 20 minutes and abide by the physical and social distancing rules. More importantly, wear a mask, take responsibility and stay safe. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye for now.
of a station that creates awareness for national development. Imagine a station that prepares you for a bright and greater future. A station for all ages, documentaries, classroom and television, events coverage, children's programs and variety shows. Always stay tuned to NTA Knowledge on the StarTimes platform, channel 359. For partnership, sponsorship and advert placements, contact us on NTA Knowledge. NTA Knowledge, learning to broaden horizon.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
I am not presenting a fashion show here, but I simply would like to say that we must accept to live the African way. It's been the only way to live in freedom and in dignity.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président. La patrie ou la mort, nous vaincrons.
Visionary, selflessness, love for our people and fatherland. These attributes of a true leader are difficult to find at this time. Africa and indeed Nigeria have been at thresholds of history. The quality of leadership at these times has often determined the narratives of such historical moments. The big question, therefore, has always been, who is a true leader?
A proper leader should be a Nigerian that is truly Nigerian. A Nigerian that will not only lead Nigeria, somebody who can also lead Africa. Because Nigeria and the Community of Nations is not an ordinary country. Most of the African countries look towards Nigeria for leadership.
The noble efforts of patriots in pre-independent Nigeria have been well documented. They represented the finest of Nigeria's history and reference point for character development.
We must ensure that in an independent Nigeria, individual citizens throughout the land enjoy liberty, human dignity, and equality under the law. There must be one Nigeria with one constitution and one law for all.
Elizabeth Abad. I am here to talk about facts. There is so much misinformation and distortion out there, especially on the social media. All it takes is just a click and the fake news goes viral. However, here in NTA, we deal with facts.
My job is to go out there and comb for factual news and information, just the way it is, all in the interest of the nation. I'm Naja'atu Tijani.
Here on the NTA will present only the facts, verified. Beware of fake news, don't be a victim. Stay tuned to the NTA.
Especially at this time of the coronavirus pandemic.
My name is Nnamdi Ojipo.
Good
afternoon. Thanks for joining us. Here are some of the stories trending on our Ruth Aguele. We begin from the judiciary scene. The Supreme Court has dismissed the appeal of the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Musa Wada, and its party against the election of Yaya Bello as governor of Kogi State. The Apex Court, in a unanimous judgment, dismissed the appeal for lacking in merit and upheld the concurrent decisions of the majority of Kogi State Governorship Elections Petition Tribunal and a Court of Appeal for lacking in merit. The lead judgment, read by Justice Wani Abaji, held that the appellants were unable to prove allegations of electoral malpractices in the November 16, 2019 governorship election. The Apex Court held that failure of the appellants to call polling unit agents was fatal to their case, adding that the appellants merely dumped documents that could not be attached probate value. The Apex Court also dismissed the appeal filed by Social Democratic Party and its candidate Natasha Akpoti for lacking in merit. And on Infotech, in an effort to ensure that synergy and effective ministry supervisory mechanism is put in place to coordinate, monitor and track the progress of federal government's digital transformation initiatives, President Muhammadu Buhari has approved the transfer of the National Identity Management Commission to the Federal Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy. The approval was based on the President's consideration for the critical role of NIMSI towards the realization of the objectives of the National Digital Economy Policy and Strategy for Digital Nigeria. And to COVID-19 updates, the Nigeria Center for Disease Control has confirmed 250 new cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. Now, this brings the total number of confirmed cases in the country to 53,727. Number of persons discharged, 41,314, and 1,011 deaths recorded. In a related development, a report says the Lagos State Commissioner for Health, Professor Akin Abayomi, has tested negative to COVID-19. And on the global scene in Asia, India is fast becoming the world's new coronavirus epicenter, setting a record for the biggest single-day rise in cases, as experts predict that it will soon pass Brazil and ultimately the US. As many as 78,761 new cases were added Sunday, the most any country has ever reported in one day, while 971 deaths were reported on Monday, pushing the Asian country past Mexico for the third highest number of deaths worldwide. The number of cases globally has gone past 25 million, with deaths exceeding 844,000, and more than 16.5 million people have recovered. More news on the global scene. Sudanese government and the main rebel alliance have agreed on peace deal on Monday to end 17 years of conflict. The Sudan Revolutionary Front, a coalition of rebel groups from the western region of Darfur and the southern states of South Kordofan and Blue Nile, signed the peace agreement at a ceremony in Juba, capital of neighboring South Sudan, which has hosted and helped mediate the long-running talks since late 2019. The final agreement covers key issues around security, land ownership, transitional justice, power sharing, and the return of people who fled their homes because of war. It also provides for the dismantling of rebel forces and the integration of their fighters into the national army. About 300,000 people have been killed in Darfur since rebels took up arms in 2003, according to the United Nations. Conflicts in South Kordofan and Blue Nile erupted in 2011 following unresolved issues from bitter fighting in Sudan's 1983 to 2005 civil war. Meanwhile, two rebel factions refused to take part in the deal. Those are the stories we have for you at this time. I'm Ruth Aguele. Bye.
In 2018, the federal government of Nigeria banned the sales and use of codeine syrup as a painkiller drug because of the misuse and addiction by people. Since this action was taken, what has been the situation of drug and substance abuse in the country? Join me on this episode as we look into the world of drugs and substance abuse in our society. My name is Nneka Michael. It's no longer news that some youths engage in drugs and substances abuse for numerous purposes, which in turn have their consequences in their lives. Let's take a look at this feature on the reality of drug abuse among the youths.
Nigeria's growing youth population indicates that there is an abundance of human capital needed for development in every sphere of the nation. On the other hand, this thriving youth population has also been a burden in progress due to their involvement in other illicit activities. In 2018, the federal government of Nigeria banned the use of cough syrups containing painkiller codeine because of the misuse and addiction by the youths. With this ban, youths no longer have access to the drugs for pleasure purposes.
The essence of eradicating drug abuse is to be able to curtail, to remove and then reduce the level in which people are rushing and engaging in drugs, and at the same time to enable them leave crimes. Because through drug abuse, there is increments in crime. You will hear people complaining, snatching my bag, some people being robbed, they get killed, gang-related problem.
Unfortunately, drug abuse has become a common phenomenon among the youths.
First of all, when they don't follow the right channel to have access to drugs, and when they mix up with people that have the habit of abusing the drugs itself, in that way they can learn, or they learn how to abuse it. If they don't follow the right process, probably following the doctor's prescription or nurse's prescription, or if they learn from all those touts or street boys that take other side of the drugs like Hems and the rest of them and not and abuse it.
According to a World Report in 2019, about 35 million people worldwide suffer from drug use disorder, while 1 in 7 people receive treatment. The increase is due in part to the use of synthetic opioid and tramadol in West, Central and North Africa. Also, in 2017, an approximate of 125 tons of tramadol was seized globally, a figure far above the 9 tons and 10 kilograms seized in 2013 and 2010, respectively. Drugs and substance abuse has taken new methods, aggravating a much difficult problem in the society. In the past, drug and substance abuse was common with hoodlums who roamed the streets, but today it is seen among adults and children alike. Intake and consumption of these products is done in clubs, hideouts and shops around us. This also means that our kids are now susceptible to the use of these substances if not properly monitored. The consequences of drugs and substance abuse are enormous.
Now you send a kid to buy you cigarettes, or to buy you, call a name, to buy you some crack, to buy you marijuana. Then he's looking at it, he's curious about it, and he's going to pick one and smoke. And sometimes they are being motivated. Come and test it. This has happened to me myself. All right, and at that time I was in Kuje Secondary School. I was in boarding school. While my senior sent me to buy drugs, he's an adult. I'm not supposed to involve in all this. Then I bought the drugs, buy some cigarette, buy some marijuana, they call it ubo, to smoke. Now, crack some things, I don't know. I was thinking maybe it's a chalk. They will crack it, put it on something, light it, and then bring it to themselves. Then they have converted it into something. There's a pipe, Some people call it shisha. They are all drugs. convert it into sweet. They call it sweet, and something like that. I was sent to get this thing. So I was curious. So I first started with the cigarette. I was sent to buy. I bought one too. And they said, I never asked, you're too young. What are you doing with cigarettes? So even those one are contributing into the harm, effects of these drugs all around.
On the streets, you see mad people. Those are the part of it. Parents losing their children during occultism in the school is part of it. Some people are even just going on the street, they are not themselves again. So many people have died.
If you check the society we are in now, you find out that the consequences of drug abuse is enormous, especially our youths. Okay? The street urchins you're seeing now, most of them are as a result of drug abuse. Even these bandits, even these rapists, some of them, they go and take these drugs in excess, and you have to take them to the other side of the world. You understand what I mean? I mean, that way they misbehave. They act inappropriately in the society. So the consequences are very enormous. So most of the crime, let's say 30 or 40% of the crime we are having now is as a result of drug abuse.
They will engage in kidnapping, cattle rustlers, the sort of crime you mentioned. So these are what drug can do to a person, especially the woman. Nobody can keep a woman as a wife in the house that's into drugs. If my wife was into drugs and I see her, she's cracking something and she's misbehaving something, I can take her as my wife.
While some of the drugs abused are codeine, tramadol, methadone, oxycodone, among others, achieving common complete eradication of these menaces will mean a lot.
I think we'll first of all start from the home. The parents should know what their children are doing at a particular time. Like your child bring in drugs that you don't understand, you have to go and find out. Charity begins at home. It starts with mothers. Mothers are always at home. They should look after their children and find out the type of friend they keep. They should find out what they do in the school. I know of so many people, they will just drop their children in the school. They don't go there to go and find out. For even the one in university, parents have to go to the school and find out their friend, who is their friend, what are they doing, what did they bring to the house. So I will first of all say the parent. Then in the country again, churches too have roles to play. Let the churches on the altar, not everything about money, mosque, let them talk to the youth, because this thing circle around youth. So they should preach to them, let them talk to them. They should have group in the church, in the mosque, where they encourage the youth, tell them what they're supposed to do at a particular time.
Governments, if they map out measures to say this is how drugs are going to be taken, and they follow it up, do you understand? In that way, people will not abuse it. If you are telling me that I need this drug, I need to go to this center to take it, and you make sure it's available in that center, and not a situation whereby I will go there, I will not find the drug, therefore I have to go and look for it elsewhere. Do you understand? In that way, they are not helping. But if you tell me to go there, I will get it, and I go there, I get it, you are helping. Also, bring people that will sensitize us on how to use those drugs, the effects, the advantages and disadvantages of those drugs.
The youths need to be engaged. It mustn't be a white-collar job. There should be a center of study and technical know-how. Now, secondly, there should be checkmate internally, because people are now planting these drugs within our soil. So there should be a checkmate activities of farmers and of people that own a private land.
This also means that the government will move beyond legislating on banning items to more strategic approach if we must stop drug abuse.
The consequences of drug misuse cannot be overemphasized because the evidence are before us. Something has to be done to curb this menace. The general belief is that the youths are the ones engaging in drugs abuse and substance. But how true is this assertion? In our next feature, we look at drugs and substance abuse among different personalities.
Substance abuse is a global challenge that is affected by multiple psychosocial factors, and a personality trait has been a major role for its occurrence. Drug dependence involves physical, mental, and spiritual damage. According to the World Health Organization, about 270 million persons aged 15 to 65 have drug use disorder. A large number of these people have been engaged in the use of psychoactive drugs without medical supervision, thereby resulting to significant health risk. Youths are mostly the group associated with drug abuse, but it has been noted that adults also involved in drug and substance abuse, which is also on the increase. Research has shown that youths who live in the slums are known for taking cannabis and codeine because of its availability and affordability. Then youths and adults who are financially stable tend to do more of heroin, cocaine, and crystal meth, just to mention a few. Consumption of these illicit drugs and substances can affect the behavioral pattern of those who are already addicted to it. To curb it, it is advised all hands be on deck to put an end to the menace of drug abuse. Say yes to life and no to drug abuse.
It's surprising to know that drugs abuse does not solely lie with the youths. Adults also engage in this unwholesome act. Some of these drugs are purchased without stress from wherever, and this access to drugs must be checked. Pharmacist Oji Freda tells us how it can be done.
Eradicating drug and substance abuse is a challenge as well as a task that must be achieved. Although government agencies saddled with the responsibilities of controlling and enforcing laws against misuse of drugs and substances have been forthright in their activities, however, more needs to be done so as to have a robust approach in the fight. The role of the pharmacist is inevitable in containing the spread of drug misuse and abuse.
Not make use of the community pharmacy as much as they should. Community pharmacy and community pharmacists, they are here to educate you on your drug. So if you walk into a community pharmacy, you have maybe a drug on your hand you want to know something about or you're not comfortable with, it's always important that you walk in and ask for the community pharmacist. The community pharmacist will be more than enthusiastic to tell you about your drug. We're not just here to tell you how to take your drug. We're not just here to tell you take it 2-3 times daily. We can tell you how the drug works in your body, how long it will last in your body, and also we can also tell you what to expect, like the side effects of a particular drug. Sometimes some people, they are not usually very comfortable with drug addiction. They know they're addicted to this drug and they're not comfortable about it, but they don't know who to talk to. So when you go to a community pharmacy, even if you're buying something else, you can ask for the pharmacist, bring up that issue and say, see, I can't sleep unless I take this drug. I can't do this unless I take this drug. So that is what you should do. The community pharmacy, we're always here to talk to our patients. The drugs that are being sold over the counter are not these drugs, like opioids are not sold over the counter. Like cannabis, marijuana, they are not sold over the counter. Pentazocine are not sold over the counter. They are prescription drugs only sold by the pharmacist. So that is what differentiates us from the patent medical shops, the patent medical practitioners. When you come into a community pharmacy, nobody will sell drugs that tend to be abused over the counter.
In this moment of COVID-19, the prevalence of less activities among the citizens is affecting people's disposition to drugs.
COVID-19 has caused a lockdown, and isolation is a fuel that ignites drug abuse. When you're being isolated, it gets to your head. So this has caused potential drug users to abuse drugs the more, and those that were not abusing drugs have started abusing drugs. So that is so since this COVID-19 emergence, a lot of, in fact, the statistics for drug abuse has spiked. As of June 2020, according to the UN, over 35 million people are addicted to one substance or the other globally. So drug abuse on its own is an epidemic, and it's a challenge in the health sector worldwide.
Drugs are not substances that should be taken for pleasure or self-prescribed by non-medical individuals. Rather, they must follow doctor's prescription and be obtained from a certified pharmacist.
Pharmacist further says, purchase your drugs from the community pharmacy as the only sure way to eradicate drug abuse. We go for a break, and when we come back, What Matters continues.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
Tremendous successes have been made by the government in tackling drug and substance abuse in Nigeria. What is the situation of drugs misuse in the country?
Codeine syrup is just one of the psychotropic substances which have been widely abused in the country. So it's not just the only drugs which we try to control or try to enforce. We have so many others, and the ban on codeine is effective because you can see that it is hardly seen anywhere and it's not being used widely as it used to be, and it's no longer being abused. Of course, you cannot rule out clandestine use of it or illicit use of it, which is still something we're working to unearth. What I'm saying is there are so many other drugs of abuse, and there are so many illicit drugs, which, of course, cannabis is one of the most abused in the country, and we have others like methamphetamine, and we have cocaine and others, which we are fighting as well. But, of course, codeine has reduced considerably, if you want me to zero down to codeine. Well, I can say it is very high. It is very high in learning because it is something, for instance, cannabis sativa is something that is native to the area and is being produced everywhere in the country. And it is difficult for the law enforcement agency to police everywhere in the country. So we know we are doing our best. We're fighting the cultivation, we're fighting the trafficking and the transportation of these drugs to some areas of the country. But at the same time, the cultivation is something that is difficult to police, given that every soil, every part of this country, cannabis grows very well. And you know, when it is something that is prohibited or is unlawful, you discover that people try to do it clandestinely, and then the cultivation of it is done in such a way that we just have to gather information to know where they are and try to destroy them. Well, very well. That is true. Apart from cocaine, apart from cannabis, cocaine, and known drugs, there are so many other concoctions which could be turned into psychoactive substance for use by the youth. And most of these concoctions are done in the room, in their rooms, not even anywhere outside. And they use certain innocuous substances, things that you buy ordinarily from the shelf, and then concoct this and it becomes psychoactive substance. So it is something that the agency is looking into. We're also experimenting and trying to into certain herbs, which we have seen around here, that could also give rise to this drug abuse. So it's not something that you can pinpoint clearly that this is the agent or which should be used by the youth, because so many things have been concocted into drugs now. Yeah, I think we notice that effect. We notice the impact of lockdown because, when people are confined to a place and they're idle, they look for some other things to do. And some of them, maybe out of depression, have resorted to use of drugs. So we notice a very huge impact of drug abuse during the lockdown period. And of course, our message has always been that drug is an agent that if you have it, will heighten the problem of COVID-19. And from all our centers, all our rehabilitation centers, there was an increase in demand for rehabilitation and counseling from people outside. And then, of course, it showed the increase was so high during the lockdown period. But of course, we have our own challenges, taking in all those people who were calling and taking in all the clients who needed our services at that point in time. Well, we have seen that apart from the youth, we have the working class, right, which of course constitute the youth as well, and then of course the women. In fact, increasingly we have seen the abuse of drugs by women, and this is very huge in the northern part of the country. And we are developing approaches as well to see how we can work collaboratively with our partners to stop this trend. We have also seen the use of drugs by those who work in industries such as drivers of articulated vehicles and buses. We have seen the increase in the use of drugs in those categories of people. We have also seen increasing use of drugs amongst those who are into manual workers and those who are also into transportation businesses like Okada riders, tricycle riders, and some, I've mentioned, big lorries, big trucks, articulated vehicles as well.
Drug and substance abuse is a menace that must be tackled by everyone and shouldn't be left with the government. What Matters comes away again next week on NTA International. And remember, always keep to COVID-19 guidelines and remain safe.
about yourself if you don't decide to do something new with yourself. Welcome to another dazzling episode of Rainbow, Nigerian Television Authority, NTA.
This is the network service of the NTA.
I and my complete crew were actually set on a trip right now to Jiwa. It's a settlement here in the FCT where we have a young girl who sustained an injury while playing football, thinking it was something she could handle. But as I speak to you right now, this little secret has caused her so much pain and something you would like to know. On Against All Odds today, we will be bringing her story right to your doorstep. Don't go away, stay with us. When we return, you will meet our guests. My name, Toshima Pius Kirafi.
This is Against All Odds.
Akogu Lucy, born into the family of Mr. and Mrs. Akogu, the first child of 4 children. She attended primary school, proceeded to Federal Girls College, Abaji. Lucy loved to play football and carried this childhood hobby further as she participated in various competitions in school, church, and among her peers. During one of the school inter-house sports in her SS2, Lucy encountered a bad fall that changed her life.
Welcome.
Thank you. Well done.
Thank you, Ma.
You're sewing something. You know, when we talked and you said you sew, I was like, so how does she sew with one hand? Anyway, I said, I will only know when she has to sew with my hand. So I came prepared. I came with a wrapper.
Wow.
So that not just me, but the world will really see that you can sew. So this is my wrapper. Now, the big question is, how long does it take you to sew a dress?
Actually, it depends on the style. The style that takes me 1 hour, just a simple dress.
Okay.
Yes, because I have to help myself. I do everything myself. And there are clothes there are styles that take me days.
Okay. Is this something we can sew in how many hours?
I don't know if you have 3 hours.
Okay. Let's see how it goes. This is our style. And she says she can make this in 3 hours. Seeing is believing, right? Let's get rolling. She took my measurement, cut the material, sewed while we chatted. During her service year, she enrolled in a vocational course where she learned beads making and fashion designing. She has given her time to fashion designing. How do you relate with your customers?
If I get a style that I know, not just the style alone, when you're bringing a style, I look at your body shape. If your body shape is not going to fit into that dress, and then you want it to be like the person that's wearing it on the catalog, I'll tell you the truth. It won't fit. And if you insist, I'll tell you I can't do it. That's the truth. It's better they know the truth. There are people who like the truth. Tell them the truth. It's not just about the money.
There's always that one bad day. Have you encountered that one bad day?
Yes. Yes. And then she taught me a very big lesson. The problem, I don't know what happened. Will I say I lost my confidence while making that dress, and then I made a lot of mistakes. Because the way she brought it in, she said, she was just saying plenty things. All these troublesome people, and that was her first time. I felt really bad that it didn't turn out well. If I make dress or her, I'm extra careful.
Sewing and hair is a very lucrative business, right?
Yes.
How much do you charge for your clothing?
2,000 and above, depending on your style. You know, we have people that no matter how the price you tell them, they still want to price. So if I see you and I see that you are that kind of person, I will not tell you the exact price, so that you are the one that will price to that people. Okay, make this dress for you 2,500. When you show me the style, I'm going to tell you that it's 4,000 naira. Yeah. You will now bargain to the point at which I'll be.
Okay, one, she's my neighbor, and I've seen her works before. Her works are very perfect, and this is not the first time she's making a dress for me. So I think she'll continue to be my designer because she's very good in what she does. There's nothing different. She having just a hand doesn't make her different. You don't have to judge people by their appearance. First of all, get to know them and know what they can do. They are God-made. Like us, we are equal. Being an amputee cannot actually define who they are. I think they are just perfect the way they are. Like she.
Like when I was doing my program.
How did this challenge come about? And then today you celebrate amputee here and there.
I was 17. I used to play football. I was in secondary school, SS2. I used to play football. So during one of our inter-house sports, I fell down. I didn't really know. It's something that happens normally. You play, you fall, and you stand up and continue. But this day it was really different. I jumped, and it feels like I overjumped. Coming down, I saw that the ground was too far. So I wanted to support myself with the hand, and I went down with it. I was too weighty for it. I wanted to stand up as usual, but I couldn't. So I cried for help. When the teacher came, I was rushed to the local bone setter to fix it. When we got there, he did what he was supposed to do. He tied. I'm sure the mistake he made was using an elastic bandage to tie the hand. When he tied, I complained. When we got back to school, it was a boarding school, so my parents were not there.
Okay.
When we got back to the hostel, I started feeling pains. I complained. They took me back to him, and he said that I will bandage. I had to manage it because it's like that. I was crying for the pain, so nobody did anything about it because he has already given his instruction that nobody should lose it. So I was left like that. When the hand is getting so long, the bandage will be tightening. So I think it got to a stage where there was no longer blood flow downward.
And the school was watching all this happen.
There was nothing they could do now. The next day, they called my mom. She couldn't come that very day because it was late.
This is against all odds.
Really, it was not easy. The very day, I would say it was even in the night, that our principal called me. Because she said she would not want to call me during the day because I will surely come. So the call came in around after 10, say. So she now told me that my daughter fell down on the field during the sports and that her bone had broken, but it is tied. I should not worry so much. but it was not easy for me. It's just that let the day break. Before 6, I was in Abaji already. And when I get there, to be sincere, what I saw, the hand has gone already. Because as a medical personnel, immediately I saw the hand, I know that the hand is not going to be alive again. So I now just told her teachers that were there, because the principal was not in. I tell the teacher that was with her and some of our students in the pharmacy there, I said I want to take her home. They said no, that I should wait for the principal, that we should just come to the school and I should wait for the principal. I just have to bear it. But I told her in my dialect immediately that your hand is gone, that this hand is not living again, because I checked, I touched her and she's not having any feelings again. I said, God, let your will be done. When we came back, there is a native man here that is tying hands. I called on him because I do assist him. If you do the traditional one, I will do the English one. So I now called on him to come and see what is happening. Immediately he saw, I said, God, I should just take her to the hospital. I now called on my parents because they are in Kaduna. They said I should bring her immediately. We left Abuja that same evening to Kaduna. And when we get to Kaduna, my dad called on a doctor because my junior sister's husband is a doctor too. He now came in and saw her. I said, no, we should just go to the hospital. We went there. There's General Hospital in Kaduna. Immediately they check. He now transfers us to his friend's hospital. That's in Angwarimi, Kaduna. He has his own private hospital and he deals with bones. So he saw, I said, there's nothing he can do than to remove the hand. That's from the day she fell down till the day the hand was removed is 1 week. So the doctor says he's going to remove it because there's something is affecting her. It will go up. So my dad now have to sign on behalf of my husband. We now remove the hand.
In fact, we felt it so difficult. But we pray unto God to console us. There are many a time we have sleepless nights because of her. Like the very day the hand was amputated, I couldn't sleep. Before I could get the news, I started getting the feeling. We felt it. No one who saw her, I will not have pity on her then. She encouraged me that they should amputate it, that she can't bear the smell again any longer. It was a very painful period for us. That period, we are all sad. Both the brother, the sisters, all our relations, nobody is happy over it.
This is Against All Odds.
So it was amputated.
And then you now faced a new chapter in your life.
Yes. Very new, because I didn't even recognize myself. It just happened. And we just have to accept it. If there's a way for us to say no to it, we would. But it has happened. And we can't kill ourselves. Being alive is the most important thing.
And it has not limited you from pursuing your dream. It has not stopped you from becoming who you want to become.
If I can actually go back to school, then it works more. I can be whatever I want to be.
So your siblings, how did you take it? You know how, of course, you're their big sister. They've always been used to you having 2 hands, and then suddenly you just returned with 1 hand. How did they take this?
My little brother was even running away from me. He said they should go and bring his auntie, but I'm not the one. He was running away. Even when they brought him to the hospital to see me, he refused. He said I'm not the one. It took him time to get used to me. Then, now, I'm everything. Like, they've accepted it. This is me. They flaunt me everywhere, social media, everywhere. Even if we are going out, they tell their friends, this is my elder sister, this is my auntie, this is my auntie. They are not ashamed of telling people that I'm their sister.
Did you at any point fall into depression or near depression?
Yes, I did. My mom was always there. She was always there. I was always angry. I was always keeping to myself. I don't smile. Even if somebody is coming to our house, I'll hide inside. I'll tell her not to tell. I shout at anybody. I don't care how old you are. Sometimes I don't eat. It was bad. I started seeing the effect on her. Because it was not just me alone. It started weighing her down. She too, she was not happy again. She don't go out. She started turning into something else. I just told myself that it's not just about me. I have people around me who feels my pains too. I don't have to come around and let go. And then when I decided to go back to school, they were all happy. When I go back, I'm done crying. When I met people, they were crying again. What happened? Crying. I'm alive now. She has seen me. That was the important thing. It wasn't easy. It wasn't, because what I can do myself before, I had to do for people, beg people to help me. And it can be so annoying when you ask somebody to help you do something and they say no. It was terrible. I had to start learning from the scratch, because I'm this kind of person that I don't even like asking for help. I like to do everything myself. But at that stage, I needed help. But not everybody will be willing to help, or maybe I'm asking at the wrong time. I cry most times. I'll cry. But then I got used to it. Even up till now, there are things, if I can't do anything, I'll just lie down on my bed. While lying down, I'll be thinking about it. I'll be doing it on my head. When I decide to stand up and try it again, I'll be able to do it perfectly. Like when I was doing my project.
So while in the university, okay, you met a lot of people. What was different there?
When I got to university, I was already used to it.
Okay.
If you don't accept me for me, I don't have any business with you. That was my lifestyle in the university. It's a matter of accepting me, loving myself first. Even though there are lots of challenges, there are times that you want to be loved.
So are there times that you feel ashamed to, there are places you feel ashamed to go to? Or people you feel, I can't communicate with these people before?
That was before.
Okay.
Now I've accepted myself for me. I was advised to use prostate sling, but I refused. Because I want people to see me for me. It's an arm. It would have been easier for me to use prosthetic if it were my leg. But for my arm, if I'm going to do this now, I have to take it off because it won't work. So I live my life. I can go anywhere like this. I meet people. And people ask me, would you want to come back like this? I will say yes. Because I have a lot of advantage. Yeah. There are places I can go to and I will be let in easily. But for some people who are empty, they won't be allowed into that place. They'll have to pass through a lot of procedures, and so to an extent, it's an advantage for me.
When we're coming to Jiwa, something just crossed my mind. I was like, we're going all the way. That's because the lady does not have an arm. Wow. If she had an arm, what would be cool? What would we be going there to go and look for? So of course I agree that
much more than a limitation, you know, your challenge has opened a lot of doors for you. I'm sure you want to discuss one or two of those doors with us.
I went to the cyber cafe to do my online registration, and when I got there, we were asked to do our thumbprints with our 2 prints, but I couldn't. Mine wasn't moving, so the operator there told me to go to the headquarters, NYC headquarters. When I got there, the security man said we should wait, that we came earlier. We waited, and when it was time to go in, I was given the privilege to go in first. And when I got there, I was given professional treatment. Like, everybody wanted to attend to me. What do you want? What do you want? Fortunately for me, that wasn't where I was supposed to go. I was supposed to go to their IT center instead of the headquarters. And I was directed there like one VIP. When I got there, they treated me well. They attended to me, no waste of time. Told me what I was supposed to do. I should go back home. If I get home, it will be fixed. I should just go back to the cafe and continue my registration. Aside that, when I got to Oyo State, I was treated like a queen. Like they knew somebody like me was coming. Even though we had a lot of disabled people there, but I felt everybody was just concentrating on me. In the dining, like the soldiers, everybody. I just found love in that place. They were so loving, they cared for me, everything. Some were even advising me to go back. Some were even angry with NYC that why would they bring me here? Instead of them to leave me in Abuja and just... But it was my choice. I wanted to leave this place. I'm used to this place already. They loved me. Everybody that I met there, in my office, my PPA, they treated me like a queen.
She has also gone through the hurdle of looking for a job, where a lot of people will say, we want a complete person and not someone with disability.
And even when I go back here, applying for jobs and stuff like that, it was still okay. But there are some jobs that there are conditions. They will need you to be okay, no physically challenged person. You see, you'll be walking on the road and somebody will be calling you one hand. Is that person okay? Person is not okay now.
The first, maybe when the amputation clocked 1 year, how did you feel? At that point, had you snapped out or you were still in depression?
My parents did a survivor party for me. That was after my secondary school, 2009. After my WAEC, and I came back home finally. They did a survivor party for me. And there were lots of people. People came around. I never knew I had people who loved me.
Her parents can be less thankful to God. Her father shared his experience with us.
Sometimes she would see us sad. She started playing with us. So we should forget that is not the end of our life. So gradually, the pain started whiling away. And give God the glory for her encouragement on us to forget the pain.
I thank God that even at the point she is the one now encouraging me. Instead of me talking to my daughter, she's the one talking to me. I should not worry. By His grace, that whatever God said that she will do for me, she will do it even with one hand. That she know what. And really, I see God. I see the faithfulness of God in her life. Because as a girl with one hand, she's able to complete her secondary school, got admission into the secondary school and at university. She finished her university, served her country, Nigeria. During her service was when she learned this one. When she sent it into my own WhatsApp, I saw her sewing. I said, Lucy, is it you? She said, yes, ma'am. That she's doing it. I said, God, I thank you. And I did not pray even for my enemy to have experience like this. It's not easy. But I want to thank God for giving her the heart to do things on her own. She don't wait for anybody. She washes her clothes herself. She can cook by herself. She do a lot of things herself.
This is against all odds.
See, these same people that I saw then when I was able, I still see some of them on the road and they'll still be begging me for alms, and I'm like, you did not see me. You're begging me. You did not see me. But life goes on. Just walk past. If I can help, fine. If I can't, I'll just walk by.
Lucy has had series of failed relationships. She believes her own man is on the way. Sometimes she feels it's because of her amputated hand.
There are some people that I meet that from the very beginning they'll be all loving, caring, and in a short while they turn into monsters that you never thought about. I've met people who loved me for me, but anything that is not meant to be cannot be.
Finally. Okay. She told us 3 hours. And 3 hours it is. I was actually counting. I was counting because I needed to count. You know these tailors, they can. I needed to count. You know, this is the dress. But just wait, I'm coming.
My dress. I let you be the judge. Is it beautiful? Does it look like a dress sewn by a lady with one hand? Lucy's dreams are lofty. Please, can we be part of it? 2 years down the lane, Lucy is happy she toiled the path of fashion. She wants to open a fashion house where she can cater for less privileged people and persons with disability. The sewing machine her mom bought for her 2 years ago is what Lucy is still using. Is someone planning to surprise her? Sitting and chatting with Lucy, we didn't know that so much time had gone. But as I and my crew left Jua, we left Jua fulfilled because we knew that Lucy's story would impact a life. Encourage someone today. Encourage Lucy. Make her part of your plan. And always, always keep your dreams alive. Keep hope alive against all odds.
Audio